BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence. Oh, boy. Got things to talk about today, don't we? 585-866-4326. Do join us here. Anytime you can write in at WGR Rochester is our handle on X. We are on YouTube and Twitch, which you can always leave a comment there. We appreciate you watching. Of course, we're on 95.7 FM, AM 950, and always free in the Odyssey app. To Game 6 we go. And who thought this was going to be easy? Not me. Well, at least round one should be a little easier. But give Boston credit. They're a veteran team. They've got a lot of guys that know how to kind of show up. Swayman at the top of the list. They don't win that game if it's not for him. And maybe he knew what he was doing when he was getting on guys, in front of the cameras after Game 4. Or during Game 4 as he was leaving. But I have one question, just one. We'll tell you who's coming up on the show today. What does the person sitting in the dark room in Toronto actually do? You listening right now, you may know more hockey than I do. And I've called RIT hockey for many years, okay? But there are people that really, really know the sport. On the other hand, hey, if you're just tuning in now and, hey, I'm getting on board, welcome. You come on board. Welcome, and this is a fun sport, and glad to have you. But I would just say this, though. Like, what does the person in Toronto in the situation room do?
What would you say you do here?
Yeah, thank you. Tim, I'm getting worked up. Because
I'm with you.
Because with the naked eye, wait a second. Okay, Pasternak goes in, bam, bam, and then I'm just using the TV feed. And there's websites like Buffalo Hockey Moments that are doing this, and I'm doing there's a Pruder film thing, frame by frame. You don't even need to struggle that much, and that's the center ice camera where I could say, okay, that's offside, and nope, nothing to see here. Woo! We'll see you Game 6, everybody. Have a good night. And not helping the cause. I don't know if it's directly correlated. But the TV coverage, and I guess we're not used to this because, I don't know, it hasn't been, 15 years? Overtime game. Okay, see ya, everybody. Like, here's a highlight. Here's another highlight. See ya. And we're off to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, what frustrates me the most is there was a goal in Vegas, or in Utah, rather, but in that game, Vegas scored an OT. It was taken off the board because it was offside. But they had a clear blue line angle of it. And we weren't even gifted that on the broadcast last night.
Yeah, Paul Hamilton will join us here in a little bit here as, you hear him on all the stations. There's so much I want to talk about with Paul here because, a little bit of controversy ending last night. Now, as I say this, I'm sure somebody could, if you roll the tape on the show, because I don't want to be accused of moving goalposts, but we all don't like, all right, the skate was off the line. I mean, it's the old, spirit of the law, the letter of the law, and we don't want the game to be too litigious. However, I thought that was pretty clear that Pasternak was offside. Now, maybe the universe balances out because honestly, I thought Boston won it earlier in overtime. But what was the explanation from the official? The intent to blow the whistle? Okay, great. I'm thinking to myself, oh, my gosh, these things normally happen to us. Maybe this is the year. Game 6 Friday night, if necessary, Sunday afternoon, and here we are. We do get the Tim, what do we call it when two teams are tied at 2? Let's see if you're up on your sports bar vernacular. One team has won 2 games. The other team has won 2 games. Tonight is game 5. It is a...
Sounds pretty pivotable. Pivotable? What the hell was that? Sorry. Pivotal. I broke it.
You did. That's why you're 3T. It's the pivotal game 5 in Tampa tonight. Montreal and Tampa. And I get this question asked a lot. Who do you want? Who would you rather see the... I keep going back and forth on this. Who would I want? I want that to go 7 games. I want them to kind of knock each other out. Am I scared of Tampa? No. Sabres swept them this year. If you held my feet to the fire, I would say I would want Tampa. As strange as that sounds. And that's a veteran team with all sorts of moxie. I just think Montreal is kind of a different animal. I've seen it with my eyes. I know the Sabres can hang with Tampa. Paul Hamilton will be joining us here at the bottom of hour number 1. Hour number 2, our favorite Baltimorean. Ooh, we could talk about Diego Pavia going to the Baltimore Ravens. PJ Glasser, as we have 3 matchups tonight in the NBA, including one that, And usually the NBA, we don't get this. NHL upsets everywhere. Like, if Boston ends up winning this series, we will be angry. But the national storyline will be, okay. Nobody's going to be shocked. Not the case if Orlando wins tonight. They're up 3-1 on Detroit. Like, what happened there? And I'd say this. What happened? It was just an Orlando team that, hey, we go back to last summer. Who could be the darling team? How many people said Orlando? A lot of people. They've got talent. And how do they end up as an 8 seed? Doesn't feel like an 8 seed. So we'll talk to PJ Glasser about how, if you want a little extra action, PJ is the guy. He'll be joining us in hour number 2. Our phone number brought to you by Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, the Wingman line at 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. And talking to the guys over there, Tim, sounds like they're going to bring back a favorite because you have this Sunday. And then what is the Sunday after that? Mother's Day. Oh, my. Yeah, we will. They will have the bottomless mimosas.
I brought my mom there last year.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, that's going to be good for mom. So mom will get a mimosa if you would bring her to Good Smoke on Mother's Day. We had some news on the show yesterday. Now, we're all disappointed the Amerks season wrapped up, but we're just kind of being honest with ourselves. What are you going to do? Look at the Jersey Shore memes that Rome used to. Hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? This team wasn't designed to go very far in the postseason the way it was constructed. Mike Leona got into the playoffs. And now we just kind of look ahead, and, boy, things look not very clear in terms of the roster makeup next season, do they not? For one, Buffalo's going to want to improve their roster, you would think. So where does it start with guys who may be eligible? And there's a ton that won't be eligible. And there's a ton that, quite honestly, hey, it was great that you were here. We wish you well. Send you on your way. We talked yesterday, one last conversation with head coach Mike Leone, and I had to ask this question. Like, what does his future with the Amerks actually look like? And he does give an answer here. This was from the show on Tuesday, head coach Mike Leone. Mike, what is your status? Are you good to come back? Do you want to come back? Is that a conversation that has yet to come with Yarmo, though?
Yeah. I'm not going to really get into the details. Like yes. If that's what I will be back. Now it's just working through some things on. That's a kind of a personal question with management. I keep that respectfully between us, but yes, I will be back.
Okay, there we go. He says yes. It's personal. There was some other issue he had to work through. There's a lot in there. But we're going to take it at face value where, hey, you said it. Yes. And my read on that, and Timmy Schneider, our fine producer, my read on that is that I caught him flat-footed with that question, and he wanted to answer it, but he didn't know if this was the time and the place to actually answer the question because it just seemed like there was a little bit of a mixed signal in there.
Yeah, despite that being his life and his job, I think that it was somebody else's perhaps responsibility to announce that, and it hadn't been done yet.
Yeah.
So he kind of felt forced to do it.
But I don't think there should be, Yarmo, there shouldn't be a press conference that says, hey, Mike Leone is back. I think it just should always be kind of assumed, or this would be the forum to say, or if he said it like, well, yeah, that's a dumb question. Of course I'm going to be back. Then great. But if you could play that once again, and I'm going to make another point here about Coach, because again, I'm going to stress this again. I thought he did a great job this year. Some Amerks fans, and boy, our friend Keith over at Lex Go Amerks tagged us, and there was a lot of conversation. Some people don't, and that's fine. But if you just look at what was here, what did you expect? But listen to this again, and I'm going to just make one suggestion to Coach. Again, this is Mike Leone yesterday. I'm kind of in the middle here saying, yeah, I am back next year. Mike, what is your status? Are you good to come back? Do you want to come back? Is that a conversation that has yet to come with Yarmo, though?
Yeah. I'm not going to really get into the details. Like yes. If that's what I will be back. Now it's just working through some things on. That's a kind of a personal question with management. I keep that respectfully between us. But yes, I will be back.
Okay, there we go. So Mike Leone's saying that. And Mike, I don't know if you're listening, but maybe this would get back to you. I asked him a question yesterday, like, what is it that you think you should work on next year? When you get to the next level, and I think Mike Leone is a really good coach. Now, will he someday be an NHL coach? Well, Seth Appert's an assistant coach in the league. I think that there will be some role at some point in the NHL, whether it's a head coach, assistant coach, some sort of role for Mike Leone if he wants that in this way. Heck, I mean, his mentor's John Cooper. I don't like John Cooper, but like they go back ways. When you get to the next level, okay, you're not in a friendly market like Rochester. Well, check that. You may be in a market in the NHL where they don't care. And I'm going to say this. Like, they care about the Rangers in New York. If you are the head coach of the Islanders, nobody's covering you, and it's fine. Like, honestly, there are places, or if the Florida Panthers are out of it this year, you almost get a pass that way. But if you're in a market in Canada, or if you're in Buffalo, if you are the game in town, or the East Coast, or Canada, people will be dissecting everything you say. They will. So if you're the head coach of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, they're not even called that anymore, say whatever you want. No one's going to be like, oh, my gosh, like that was a mixed signal. What do you think? That would be my suggestion. Like, prepare as if you have to deal with reporters. And again, that's not anything with him to being a good hockey coach or not. It's just kind of a life thing. Like, your purpose talking to us is connecting with the fan base. Understand, when you come on our show here, your purpose is to sell tickets. That's it. Inform us, get people excited. We have questions. See if you can answer some of them. And if you can't, you can't. But that's all I would say is like, yeah, like what are you looking to improve on? Someday when you get your NHL job, like, yeah, you want to be polished when it comes to the media. And I think NHL coaches are that way. And I appreciate Mike Leone for answering the question. But that would just be kind of my suggestion. That I appreciate all the time he's given. But, for Mike Leone yesterday, I welcome him coming back next year. Now, how is this roster going to look? That's the real question, Mike. And we'll have all off season to do this, but I'm at the point where draft picks, okay, well, whatever at this point. Like, that does not matter. We're not in development mode. We're in win mode. And ultimately, and I've said this from the get-go, Sabre fans, I don't think this results in a Stanley Cup parade, okay, this year. I know Brayton Wilson had his psychic. I know that might upset some people, but if you're just doing the law of averages when it comes to Buffalo Sabres hockey, or NHL hockey for that matter, sometimes it's very random. Quite often it's very random. Sometimes the best team will win the cup. Quite often that does not happen. We'll talk to Paul Hamilton. About the Sabres, where they go from here. I know where Paul's going. He's going back to Boston. Game 6 coming up Friday night here on the Sports Leader WGR Rochester. PJ Glasser will join us coming up next hour. You ever get these things on social? Hey, flashback. This was 5 years ago today. This was 10 years ago. It's kind of fun sometimes. Other times it's kind of annoying. There are actually apps that you can kind of download and they fish through all your activity. Personally, I don't want to get that personal, but this came up today, but it was not in my feed, but I'm sure this was in a lot of feeds. And I would say this. I wrestle with the, oh my gosh, I don't want to turn the sports bar into TMZ Rochester here. But it's been kind of fun, hasn't it? And I'm sorry, I've been kind of guilty, like this whole Vrabel story. And you know why it's kind of fun? Well, if you're listening to our show, chances are you don't like the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots. They can go away. That should have been us. It wasn't us. Credit them, I suppose, blah, blah, blah. So that's part of it. I'll admit that. Seeing one of their guys step in it, fantastic. And yes, I will go to the ends of the earth to give you more updates on the scandal in the NFL concerning Mike Vrabel and the former athletic reporter Diana Rossini. But before there was Mike Vrabel, Tim Schneider, there was another scandal, but this guy was out of the NFL. And this guy went from, my gosh, he's the best coach in the NFL to, oh my gosh, like this is modern day Lolita. I'm shocked. It was 1 year ago today that we actually had CBS. Well, it would have been yesterday. 1 year ago, CBS News had the sit-down interview with Bill Belichick. And how did you meet? And it was, it was Bill Belichick's young lady friend who would not disclose and got all huffy, and that led everybody to say, what is this relationship really about? Is this really May, December? And at that point here in the sports bar, we couldn't get enough of it, but then the rest of the world was kind of clued in at that point and said, hey, this is something that came up 1 year ago today. Feels like a lot longer than that. 866-4326. 60 seconds for Dr. Neil as he joins us. Neil, got to be quick. What's up, buddy?
God, 60 seconds. Well, nobody should be surprised that at the Patriot Way, we have an owner who solicited a prostitute, the deflating of balls, and other such controversies. I guess when you think of yourself as Patriot Way, you can pretty much get away with anything and take the so-called moral high ground when you're on the low road. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it.
All right. Wow. That was in 20 seconds. I appreciate that, Neil, the brevity.
Well, I think I should be George Costanza and quit on a high note.
Well, that's it. Just hit the mark. See, that's a great call. That's how you do it. Step off the mark. Some people might say that's a little bit blue. I said actually something very blue to the point where Tim, who, you're not the moral police, but I felt like you were the moral police one time. But then again, I swore on the air, and I didn't realize I swore on the air, and you have that tape somewhere.
It's long gone, but I did record it when it happened. Yes, that was years ago, so it's off the record now. Yeah.
Neil, thank you for the call. And that's
got it.
Yeah, that's the way we do it. Just make the point, stick the landing, as you would say. And yeah, that culture in New England, do whatever it can to win, cheat. Yeah. Hell. Cheater. Well, yeah, I'm going to save that for a little bit because It's so many twists and turns. And this story's not going away. I will give you proof that this will extend into May. We have Paul Hamilton waiting in the wings. Paul Hamilton, WGR Buffalo Sabres reporter. You can give us a call at 866-4326. Dan Drummy, our fine producer in the background. Tim Schneider here. My name is Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
You're in the
Stand out from the rest? Odyssey Rochester, the owners of this radio station, are looking for you. Call Mike Johnson at 585-423-2946. Odyssey is an equal opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Series continuing, Buffalo and Boston. Game 6 coming up Friday night. Noah Oshlin out indefinitely, suffering injury in Game 5. Head coach Lindy Ruff says that Josh Norris ready to go back in. Ruff not worried about going away from Western New York.
I think sometimes the road team, can play a little bit different game, and it, can frustrate the home team too at times. I just feel now, pressure kind of reverts back to them and their building, and they haven't played well in their building, and we get to go there and play in a building where we've won 2 games.
Paul Hamilton, WGR Sabres reporter, will join us next here in the Sports Bar. Rochester Red Wings coming off a 10-1 win over Worcester. Seeing 2 teams tonight downtown. Yankees and Texas, that's coming up at 2:35. The Guardians and Rays in a rain delay. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, WGR Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Well, any Stanley Cup playoff has twists and turns, and there was one last night, but you get to overtime, those things can kind of happen. Paul Hamilton covers the Buffalo Sabres, the dean of Buffalo Sports Radio, joining us here. And Paul, was there any... What were your thoughts about that not being looked at in the Situation Room, or what if that overtime goal was indeed looked at, that we really didn't know about it? It was a quick look there. Paul, how are you today?
I'm well. Yeah, we need a third WGR. I just finished on Buffalo's WGR. Now I get to do Rochester's WGR. So I'm running out of WGRs here after I'd finished with you.
What would be the next one? Would you go to Erie or Toronto? I mean, I would think
we could go Erie or Syracuse, or I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But yes, getting back to what you asked, every goal is reviewed. So you don't have to ask for a review or whatever. In the playoffs, every goal is reviewed. That goal was onside. Pasternak is good at that because he gets in that position quite a bit. Did a fantastic job to keep himself onside. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't think many players in the NHL would have stayed onside, but he's kind of used to it, and he did.
Did they expose something in the Sabres back end here, Paul? Because this isn't the first time, certainly, we've seen Pasternak get behind the Sabre defense. Is there a flaw that has been exposed here for the Sabres?
Well, let me explain why this one is totally different than earlier in the series. The Sabres have been using the offside D to kind of shut that down and have been shutting it down. It was a problem to start the series. What happened here was the Sabres had Ryan McLeod for a breakaway. They made the stretch pass, and it didn't make it to him. Had it made it to him, he's gone. And what got Pasternak where he was, Boston was on a change. So he came over the boards and was on a change. And Samuelson actually kind of got back anyway as best as he could because of the change. So that's what got him there. It wasn't really he was behind the defense. He just came off on the change, and Buffalo was within millimeters of getting a breakaway of their own. And I've seen Ryan McLeod make some good plays on breakaways, so it wouldn't be a stretch to think that maybe he could have scored had he gotten that breakaway. But and the Sabres had plenty of opportunities in the third period and in overtime to win that hockey game. Either team could have won that hockey game, but that's how Pasternak got in the situation he was.
How do you view the Sabres' performance overall, Paul? Because they do get to the 1-0 lead, and but the second period wasn't as good. In the third period, you were applying pressure. So any cause for concern coming out of this performance?
No, I look at it this way. If you can't close out a team in 3 games, then you don't deserve to win the series. So it's just the one game. And was Buffalo as good as they were in Game 4? No. Was Boston as bad as they were in Game 4? No. So I think it was a combination of both. I don't think the Sabres were awful. There were times that I thought the Sabres carried the play, and there were times I thought the Bruins carried the play. I thought there were plenty of chances for Buffalo to win that hockey game. Jason Zucker is just snake-bitten right now. He had a chance in overtime, and where I am in the press box, I had the same angle that he was looking at, and I see him come down, and it hit me. I go, he's got half the net, and 99 times out of 100 he's going to score. But there was a problem. Jack Quinn was crossing with him, and the puck hit Quinn, and it didn't hit the goaltender. Because Zucker said, he goes, I thought I scored. He goes, but the puck actually hit Jack Quinn and stayed out. And that's been Zucker's luck throughout this series. He doesn't have a goal. He's hit skates, he's hit legs, he's hit people, he's hit goalies, he's hit posts, and he's missed the net. I mean, he just cannot buy a goal in this series so far.
Paul Hamilton, Sabres reporter, WGR, joining us here as Game 6 will be Friday night up in Boston. And Paul, we know that Noah Ostlund's not going to be available for this one. I don't know if we're going to see him, actually. They don't put any time frame. This isn't the NFL, but it doesn't sound like he'll be back anytime soon. We're to assume Norris is good to go. Does he go back in, and how do the lines kind of shake out from there, Paul?
Yeah, unfortunately, and it was an awkward situation where the Bruin accidentally fell on Norris's leg. I don't know if we're talking about ankle. I don't know if we're talking about knee, but he did fall on his leg. He put no pressure on it when he left, did come back and tried to skate on it, went back to the locker room. It didn't work. A lot of people, and I would say rightfully so, thought maybe that was an encouraging thing. But unfortunately, Lindy Ruff today said that it's not looking good. And he said yesterday Norris was available, and said today Norris is ready to go. Now, Norris, to me, has had a really tough series. He has not played even close to his potential on offense. But now that we know he's hurt, my question is, and we won't know, I don't even know if we'll know when it's over, has he played hurt the whole series? And, if he's better now, if he's better now, and had some extra days maybe to recover, maybe we will see, because Josh Norris is a darn good hockey player offensively when he's not or injured and is right. So, it's basically he'll step right back into his spot. Ostlund went into Norris's spot, but after what the performance of Ostlund and the way the team played in Boston, you're not making any changes. I mean, the Sabres were in that spot a couple of times. Zucker in a 10-game winning streak. Well, you're not changing then, so he had to wait his turn. Ostlund coming back in the playoffs, things were going well. He had to wait his turn. And I thought, well, Norris is going to have to wait his turn, but he only had to wait one game because I think his term is coming up next game.
Yeah, I don't think that, last night Zadorov had like this, pivotal role there, right? Like had 2 shots on goal. Why was he even out there, Paul? I just don't understand the disciplinary system sometimes in the NHL that when a game is kind of at hand, it's over, and we're just cheap-shotting guys, in the back for no reason there. I just wish we had a more consistent sort of way of disciplining players in this league.
Well, part of the problem is you have a guy who's doing supplemental discipline who probably has broken his stick over somebody's arm probably numerous times in his NHL career and probably believes boys will be boys. That was an absolute, unequivocal intent to injure. It was well after the whistle. Was Dahlin yakking at him? Yeah, it looked like it. But Dahlin gets under team skin. So, and he knows to go after Zadorov because Zadorov is probably the dumbest player in the National Hockey League. He will take the dumbest penalties ever taken. Last game was the first game in the series he didn't take a stupid penalty, and he obliged and took the major penalty, but it should have been a suspension. But this is the National Hockey League, and they don't care about the safety of their players. They say they do, but actions speak louder than their words, and their actions for years have told us they don't care because boys will be boys, and owners don't want their players suspended. And Gary Bettman works for the owners, so it's just a vicious cycle there. But that couldn't have been more blatant of an intent to injure. He could have broken Dahlin's arm easily, and injury shouldn't matter. It's like, well, if they would have broken his arm, then he probably would have been suspended. Well, it should not matter. It's the intent, and the intent was to hurt him.
Well,
and it's ridiculous.
Well, I think also too, Paul, it's a mentality in the sport, because I was watching actually the national feed at the time on Sunday, and you probably heard about this. Pang is like, well, you didn't hit him in the neck. Oh, that makes it okay? You're you actually saying you should get a 2 instead of a 5? I at that point I'm like, all right, fine, let's wrap this up here soon. And well, we're gonna have another game coming up, Game 6 for Buffalo. Your thoughts on Alex Lyon? I will admit, Paul, when the change was made, I'm like, I don't know about this. I would give UPL another shot. Obviously, Lindy Ruff knows the pulse of his team, and it seems like in the list of reasons why Boston won last night, I can't really say Alex Lyon. I thought he played well last night.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would, after one bad period, I would not have pulled Luukkonen from the next game. But obviously, Lindy Ruff did the right thing. I mean, Alex Lyon has been great. The first 2 stars should have been last night, Swayman number 1 and Lyon number 2. The goaltenders were the stars of the game. I thought they were great. I mean, I'm not going to get on Lyon for letting Pasternak, who he has stopped on 2 different breakaways in this series. In the last 4 years, he is the number 1 goal scorer in the National Hockey League. You're not going to stop him on every breakaway. And he has stopped him on 2 out of 3, unfortunately, the one he scored on, and that was a gorgeous move. I mean, I'm thinking that move probably would have scored on any goaltender in the NHL. And the other goal was he made the save, and then the puck went up in the air, and Zucker dove forward and tried to use his hand to get rid of the puck. Well, he put it right back on Lindholm's stick in the slot. And then he just ripped it right away and scored. Again, I'm not going to blame Lyon on that goal. The one goal he gave up in Boston was a screen that he didn't see. And the other one was the shorthanded goal with 40 seconds left where he lost his shutout. So as much as at the time, I didn't think they should have sat him. Obviously, I was wrong because Lyon has done a spectacular job. And if they were actually picking the 3 stars of the game, it would have been Swayman, Lyon, 1 and 2 last night.
3 games in the league tonight, and I want to ask you about the one we're all going to be watching here. Montreal, Tampa Bay, tied at 2. Paul, do you have a preference if the Sabres do get by Boston? What would be the better matchup? I keep going back and forth on this.
I have a preference, but it has nothing to do with who the Sabres should play. So I don't want to deal with the Montreal media because it's insane. I love Montreal. I love the city. I wouldn't mind going to the city, but it's a complete and utter circus when you have a series against the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I would like to avoid that if I could. If you're asking who's the better matchup, I would. Tampa's got guys who can put the puck in the net, definitely, but Montreal has speed, and Buffalo has beaten Montreal this year, but it just seems to me, thinking back to the games, Montreal gave Buffalo a harder time than Tampa did. I would not pick this series. I can't tell. Either team could win this series. I can't say it's been a great series that I've eyeballed. The last game was really the first one I've had an opportunity to watch because it's been going on pretty much the same time as the Sabres. So I haven't had a real opportunity to catch the series until the last game. But just every indication is it's been a tough, evenly matched series that's gone to overtime, 3 of the 4 games, I believe. And a lot of people were hoping, the Sabres would clinch and then that would go 7. And then you've got a tired team. Now, sometimes that backfires against you because if the Sabres clinch, it could be over a week in between games and now you're rusty while the other team has been playing. So sometimes that can go either way on you, but the Sabres are not going to get that opportunity because, the earliest they could clinch is on a Game 6 situation, so Tampa and Montreal wouldn't be that much further behind.
Yeah, it's. I thought you were going to answer that question based on weather, Paul. I guess I don't know you that well because, Tampa this time of year, 80 degrees.
Well, it's spring now. I was watching Edmonton. Those people outside, they were all in short sleeves, and I actually said to myself, "Oh wow, it's warm enough to be in short sleeves at night in Edmonton." I wouldn't have guessed that. So we're to a point now where I think the weather in Montreal should be just fine. And of course, maybe it'd be too hot in Tampa. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Paul, I'm just amazed how they're able to keep the ice this time of year. And it's not great in some spots, but by and large. Paul, we appreciate all the work you're doing. So hopefully we get to do this again soon. Thanks so much for your time today.
You sure you don't have another WGR I can go to now for a third spot?
Timmy, what do you think? We're in the manifest destiny of WGR, where does our fine company go to next?
WGR Erie. It's coming up soon.
Erie, yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Monopolize the East Coast.
Yeah, let's go. Paul, thanks so much, bud.
No problem. Take care.
Thanks, Paul Hamilton, joining us. Yeah. I mean, it's no secret. Like, you listen to the station, he's on Sal's show. He's on in the morning. Shope will probably have him this afternoon. So there's certainly some times that you'll be hearing Paul. We try to put a different take on it, but I appreciate the way he covers the game, and for Paul to say, no, like, don't worry about the goal. Then that's good enough for me. That's how I kind of view it. Now, he and I are in alignment. Like, I still think that Zadorov hit was dirty, and the penalty is $5,000. That's going back to Sunday's game.
That's pocket change for a pro athlete.
What are we doing? Like $5,000? You could show up and sign 2 hockey cards. There you go. Boom. Give me my money. There's the fine. Like, Zadorov, dirty player in this league, repeat offender, and Darren Pang. It cracks me up. Well, it could have been worse. Could have hit him in the neck. What, are we trying to kill him? Is that what you're insinuating?
Yeah, if it's not on ice assault, it's all clear.
What are we doing? I just thought overall last night that was just a good game. That didn't go Buffalo's way. And he mentioned the Zucker play. There were some things to me, I would have called that offside. In real time, I'm like, that's offside. They didn't, but we move on. Doesn't sound like Oslin. Now, the NFL, for betting purposes, will always tell you, here is the injury, and then you can draw your own conclusions, whether that player would be back or not. Hamstring or whatever it is. The NHL, upper body, lower body. They should just say body.
You can have a puck in your neck, and it's just an upper body injury.
Upper body, yeah, right. So Noah Oslin out indefinitely. Now, this is lower body something, but you could just hear it from the tone of Lindy Ruff's voice. It's like, yeah, this is it kind of sounds like he might be done, and that kind of sucks. Really does. But this is the price, and this is why you have to have depth. I go back to our conversation with Jody Gage. Remember this?
Yeah.
Jody was coming in and asked him, and he pointed to when he was the GM of the Amherst, and they lost the Cup final in back-to-back years. And one year, they were thin up front. And the next year, they were thin in the back. They weren't that way entering the playoffs. It was just kind of over the course. You get one more injury at center, now we got an issue. Like, it's okay because Norris will go back in, and I think he'll be just fine. Oslin brings a different skill set. Oslin just a great creator, and I think that the ceiling for Noah Oslin in this league is higher, actually. But Norris going back in, if he's good to go, that's perfect. Still don't know who the Black Aces were that were called up from the Amherst to the Sabres. The guys that, okay, we want you to practice. You know, you're not going to dress or anything like that, but come ride with us. We'd love to know. We'd love to find that out. We have 3T coming up, as I affectionately call Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day. We will talk to our buddy. That would be PJ Glasser. PJ Glasser, host of Send It In. And you can hear him all over the place now. He's with various outlets. And we will also have an update. Yes. Our TMZ.
We got more.
You can't get enough.
I thrive on this now.
I can't. Well, it's more of a forecast here today than anything. Well, okay. Check that. We have an update, and then we have kind of a forecast of what will be coming up in May and why this story, for some PR people, like this story will fade away. Like reading Jerry Thornton of Barstool, who is the biggest Patriot honk. He's honky honk man for the Patriots. This story in 2 days will go away. Oh, really? Like, it's really? Whose world is that? We will take your calls at 866-4326 as well. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
Sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
I love when I put 3T on the spot. His terrible take coming up here in just a little bit. Word association.
Oh, boy.
I say the word Elmer.
I know who you're talking about right now, but FUD is the answer, obviously, but I know who you're referencing.
Right. Yeah. Starting for the Yankees at 2:35 today against the Texas Rangers, that would be Elmer Rodriguez. By my knowledge, there hasn't been anybody in modern-day sports with the name Elmer. Mind you, this is coming from a Eugene, and there's plenty of us out there. See the guy in Pittsburgh with the Penguins, right? But he goes by a different version of it, Yevgeny. Elmer Rodriguez. And Elmer Rodriguez was tearing it up there for the Scranton AAA team. He was 1.27 ERA. Like, okay, the Yankees are going to try this. And look, it makes it interesting, does it not, today for the Yankees that you have this prospect getting called up. Again, that's coming up at 2:35. Guardians and Rays still in a rain delay. Red Wings tonight taking on Worcester.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
This is the first time I haven't seen you visibly annoyed. Did it just beat you down, or did you finally come around?
I've been defeated by the song, but last week I was victorious, so I felt good, and I'm just letting it go. But I was distracted by a quick Google search. The most recent famous pro athlete Elmer, all born over 100 years ago. So this is history.
This is history. Elmer on the road, and also, by the way, for any Sports Center anchor or whatever, we telegraphed be very, very quiet. Like, is that really appropriate? Somebody with a speech impediment that we're going to make fun of? That was the whole bit with Elmer Fudd, right? And
yeah.
Then think about how we grew up. We made fun of their speech impediment, and the guy had a gun.
The glory days of cartoons.
Yeah, that's how we grew up, Tim. Tim, what do you got?
I was a little bit nervous last segment that I thought you might have been on the approach of stealing my take. You didn't mention the name outright, and I don't know if he's even considered a black ace, but now that the Emmerich season's over, and unfortunately the injury to Noah Osland, I think that, you can bring somebody that's been a scratch back into the lineup, but I think the actual answer is to bring up Consta Helenius and see what he can offer to this team in the playoffs, because the way that Austin's played and the way that Helenius played down in Rochester, fairly similar and very, very productive. I think that's the move. If possible, you make it.
All right, so what would Mike Leone say? He'd give you, playing away from the puck, playing away from, like, all the other things that we, the common observer, don't see. I'm going to split the difference here. Yes, if Noah Osland isn't available for the rest of the playoffs, there's no sense in the smokescreen, okay? Then you put Helenius on. I don't know the actual. I think you would be allowed to do such a thing, but no, you're not activating. You're not putting him in over Josh Norris. Josh Norris has the ability. Josh Norris at times this year, you said, oh, okay, that's why they loved him in Ottawa. That's what it was all kind of about. And to me, Josh Norris has some ability. Just what's the knock on him? Hasn't been able to stay healthy. Well, he's healthy now. Just the question I always bring up is, okay, depth is great, but then when you have to use a little bit of it, that's where we're kind of at. Does Helenius start next season in Rochester? That's a question I would listen to.
I think there's going to be a lot of turnover within both rosters. It's too tough to speak on right now. I think he'll be given every opportunity to earn a spot in Buffalo next year. And I think he's already done so and perhaps we get a
He's not
playoff debut.
even 21 yet.
He's not even 20. He just turned 20.
20, yeah.
Just turned 20.
Yeah. So that would mean he's 20. So, yeah, I'm not putting him in this spot. I mean, it would be, I guess, from a Rochester standpoint, it would be fun. Look, the guy I would love to see in there is Zach Metza. I think Zach Metza, and maybe we'll see him at some point because you needed a bigger lineup, a heavier line. And Stanley out there, you need him policing stuff against these goons in Boston there. Will we see Metza at some point this postseason? That's an interesting one. Thank you, Tim. We'll have our gossip coming up. We have time for your calls. We couldn't take them there while Paul was on. So do give us a call at 585-866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
HD2 and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester. Sports update.
No, the Sabres could not advance last night. Boston staying alive, so Game 6 coming up Friday night in Beantown. Noah Ostlund, though, out indefinitely. We likely won't see him the rest of this postseason, suffering a lower body injury in Game 5. Marty Baron on the upcoming changes to the lineup.
Norris is going to come back into his own spot, which was occupied by Ostlund. Now, Lindy Ruff kind of, I don't want to say hinted, but left the door open as to, well, maybe there would be other changes to the lines, right? And see if they can generate more offense like they did in Game 3 and 4.
The Wings coming off a 10-1 win over Worcester. Same two teams tonight downtown. Elmer Rodriguez makes his Major League debut. He takes the bump for the Yankees, coming up at 2:35 down against the Texas Rangers. Gene Battaglia, WGR Rochester.
Pull up a chair, stay for a while. You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar. For Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2, you found us. And yeah, Rochester Sports Talk. Don Stevens will be joining us in studio. That is coming up tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun. And credit to the Amherst for having the foresight to do this, as it's one thing to hear Don's goodbye, and we played that for you Monday. But then when you put the video to it, and there's something that gets you about this video. You see Don struggling, and you see, and it's also kind of picturesque. It's an arena that all of a sudden is empty. It's symbolic, right? Like, okay, this is it. Like, the party was here, and now it's time to go. So we'll talk to Don Stevens coming up on Thursday in studio. That is an hour you do not want to miss. You can join us anytime on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. It's 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub. It's at 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. We talked a lot of Sabres. If you're just joining us now, Paul Hamilton from our WGR Sabres beat reporter joining us. That was in hour number 1. Dan DeLorney has that up wherever you get your fine audio, including our website. That's one place you can get to it. But downloading the app is probably the easiest way to go. The Odyssey app, Audacy. There are many ironies in life, many contradictions. And one of them being that if you go to a college campus and the leaders of those college campuses, those should be some of the smartest people that you will ever meet. And these are the people we should emulate. Now, there's no absolutes in life, right? There are many, many individuals like this, right? Dr. Jim Waters at RIT, for one. Smart guy. That campus just booming everywhere. So I say this knowing that is true. There are many, many bright people that I couldn't hold the candle to. But like anything in life, there are some people that are fake it till you'll make it people. And one of those guys, in my opinion, was Mark Emmert, is Mark Emmert. Now, he's retired now, but Mark Emmert was at LSU, if you look at his background, and then he becomes the president of the University of Washington, and somehow he heads up the NCAA. And this is going back, 5-6 years. And the TV rights to the NCAA tournament are up. And for Mark Emmert, he comes out and says this is one of the greatest deals of all time. From CBS and Turner, we are going to get annual increases, 3% year over year. That has widely been panned as one of the worst deals in the history of television. Not sports, just television, period. And not from CBS's standpoint. Boy, they got a deal. Until the year 2032, again, 3% year over year, right? But big deal. They're paying in the ballpark of $900 million. By today's standard, that could be as much as $4.5 billion. You left on the table. Like, think how mind-blowing that is. That is your legacy if you're the former it blows your mind. You're supposed to be the smartest guy, surrounded by smartest guys. And if you don't know anything about TV negotiations, then hire somebody who did. And CBS ripped them off. So when we get to the year 2033, and Tim, I hope you're here. I hope I'm here. 2033, I could rest assured we will have different platforms finally. Until that point, though, you won't see it on Netflix or Apple or anything else that has kind of crept into our lives. It will continue to be on CBS Sports and the TNT family, which includes True TV, right? They have the exclusive rights. The worst television deal of all time, and I love it because the smartest people supposedly thought they were getting a great deal. Instead, they become kind of now the case study in their own classrooms across college campuses why that is one of the dumbest deals ever. And why I'm bringing this up today, and you might have saw this, is it's not officially official yet, but you better believe it's official. 76 teams coming up next March. Why? For what? Just greed, right? We don't need team number 71. No, but what this really is this. It really is the end of Cinderella. You may say, well, 76 teams, that means more Cinderellas. No, it doesn't. Those at-large bids are not going to go to team number 3 in the A10, as I'm looking at you, Tim, St. Bonaventure. That's not happening. It's going to go to USC or Auburn or whoever didn't get in. And not only will they get in now, they got to play a playing round. Okay, fine. It'll be number 10 versus number 10. It's the 16 versus 16 who's going to get whacked by a 1. It will be those small conferences that are just going to be completely marginalized. No small conference will get the automatic ticket. They're going to have to play an extra round now. And in the end, though, this is creating more inventory. CBS is not going to pay for much more than what they're doing, but you could see in 2031, in 5 years, all right, we can add an extra weekend if you think it's going to stay at 76. And why this upsets me? It's because it's a product that we all love. We may not be the college basketball junkies, but when we get to March, who doesn't love it? With the cliche here, why fix something that's not broken? No sports fan asked for this. And no, Jim Boeheim does not qualify as a sports fan. There's a conflict of interest. Boeheim was originally one, you should double it. Yeah, of course. Because you and all your cronies there, like you all get your bonuses for making the tournament. And I'm not the subscriber that says, more games, this is better. Really? Like that's what the whole NCAA tournament is about. Days 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wall-to-wall action. Okay, do you want like 7 or 8 days of that? I don't care about 216 matchups. I'm not the guy who sits down and watches the games in Dayton. I might flip over. But I find it ridiculous. And again, just because they're heading academic institutions does not mean they're leaders in business. That's the way I look at it. 866-4326 is our phone number. Okay. So 3 updates today. 3 updates on the scandal of the NFL. And 2 are from completely on the outside, and 1 I feel uneasy about. So I'm going to let Tim know, okay, do you want outside story number 1, outside story number 2, or the uneasy one? Which one should we start with?
Let's start on easy.
Okay, not easy, uneasy. And I feel uneasy about this because, and I guess we saw this with Rory and Erica. Like, oh my gosh, there's Erica Stoll, and they had this fight, and she's wearing her wedding ring, and she's heading to the gym. We're at that part of the storyline here in the NFL where the paparazzi now following around a spouse or the families. And this is the part where, like, she didn't sign up for this. Right. So Jen Vrabel was walking around still wearing her wedding ring. And I don't know. I'm fortunate, that I have a wedding band on, and I don't know what that would be like to go outside without it. So I'm not going to cast judgment. I just think that, all right, now it feels like, okay, that's a line that I just don't want to kind of go down. The two stories that are from the outside, one is this. And if you're somebody that just, hey, this indirectly helps the Buffalo Bills, absolutely it does. Case in point. So magazines, and if you have ever worked in a magazine or you've noticed this, they have such a runway to put everything together that sometimes things kind of just spectacularly go wrong. The biggest example I could, I forget the magazine, was a TV guide, but something was on the, on the news, on the magazine shelves, celebrating Betty White's 100th.
Ah, I remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
well,
People, I think it was.
People, thank you. She didn't quite make it there. Oops. All right, we probably should pull that down. Boston Magazine just came out with their 150 most influential Bostonians, and not only is he on the list, he's on the cover with Drake May. There is Mike Vrabel on the cover of Boston Magazine.
Incredible.
It's credible. Like somebody, like, at the very last second, before you go to print, and maybe this was like at the beginning of the month, like, yeah, do we have a picture of just Drake May we can kind of run with? Are we under? And part of it too is, hey, I'll agree to do the cover, sign here, and it could already be done at that point. So on the newsstands now, there's the cover of Mike Vrabel, and some people might be like, oh, there's Vrabel. Let me read about him, and it's just this fluffy, puffy piece. But this is another outside story, and it's another kind of outside take, if you will. And this is interesting to me, and this is courtesy of Albert Breer, who every year when we're out at training camp, Albert Breer is there, and he kind of commandeers our space, and we let him do it, but I just always find him funny, but we can't get him on the show here. But I digress. Albert Breer makes a good point because, all right, the draft is done, and we'll have some free agency, anything, but what is the storyline that will come up? I don't think it's next week. Might be the week after that. It's the NFL schedule release. It's the schedule release. And Tim, I know how you feel about this, but I'm just going to say, if it upsets you, call in sick. Because when we get to, and who knows, maybe the Sabres are still playing and the NFL schedule release becomes a secondary story. Kind of felt like the NFL draft was a secondary story, did it not?
It did.
It did. So, like, honestly, like, okay, maybe we get to that point. But when the schedule release comes out, wow. And to me, and you could argue this against me, but I would say you're wrong. It matters because who you play when you play them. Okay, you already know you got Kansas City on schedule. Wouldn't you want to play the Chiefs week 1? And when there's a possibility that Patrick Mahomes might not be playing? Absolutely. So, in how the NFL comes up with this and what primetime games you get. Hey, did we get a holiday game? I mean, there's speculation the Bills might end up on Christmas this year. Who knows? There's all sorts of speculation, right? Well, we get to that. I eat it up. A lot of fans eat it up. So we'll be passing that along. You know who else eats it up? Every social media team. This is their Super Bowl. This is the time where they get to show the world, hey, I went to college, and maybe I'm not a movie director, but we're going to make a funny video. And the Bills, for my part, they always kind of get the C- here when it comes to their schedule release videos. Last year, it was, hey, why don't we just have AI do it? And there was Allen Iverson. So okay, I need your schedule release video to be more than just one punchline. That was it for the Bills last year. So, okay, that's cute, having Allen Iverson, but and the year before that was kind of weird. The one year in the pit there, that was funny. But the team that annually wins it is the Chargers, which is smart on them, because what are the Chargers known for? Not much. They never really won anything. They're buried in their own town, but they figured out, hey, whether it's anime or The Sims, they figured out a way to become the cool team when it comes to the schedule release. All right, you see where I'm going here. Albert Breer says, get ready, because the Patriots are going to be mocked. If the Patriots are on your team's schedule, how do they portray the matchup? Now, Breer didn't say this, but if Robert Kraft wanted to call in favors, is this one you would let go? He's like, okay, we're going to be above this. Let people have their jollies here. Or are you making the point and you're flexing your muscles to your partners? If you're Robert Kraft, are you working the phones? Are you saying, we cannot have your team making fun of our head coach?
I don't think Robert Kraft can do that, because if they don't make fun of the head coach, they'll make fun of him, even though it was years ago. That opens him up to something.
Oh, sure. Well, don't make fun of us at all. I don't think they did to that. I guess there are lines. Like, what was it from? Was it last year or the year before? I can't. They all kind of run together when you had Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, and he has his opinions on the world, and the Chargers put him in an apron baking brownies. I mean, that's clever. To me, that's worth it. Last year you had, was it the Chargers who did it? You had Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz getting into a fist fight. There's so many things that could happen, and if you're somebody that leave these two alone. Now they're public figures. Like, there was a time in our country you could make fun of public figures, and we should still be doing that, right? Like, it's not malicious to put Harrison Butker in the kitchen. That was exactly the thing he was trying to make fun of. I believe that these schedule releases are going to be fun. I just hope the Bills kind of step up their game just a little bit.
It's a division rival. You got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How do they go about it? I don't.
Do you mix in that with the Coldplay stuff and kind of pull the two of them together?
I think so. Or, okay, what's the hands intertwined? Like Mike Vrabel with Billy Buffalo on top of the Sedona Hotel there. Something like that from that photos. Or they're in the hot tub together. See, I would go after Vrabel. Rossini's done. It's like she's if she comes back, she's gonna reinvent herself totally. And honestly, like, give her that opportunity. We're all about second chances, but you might have to sit this one out here, Di. I don't think you're coming back to the NFL, but can you come back and have a second act to something else? I'm going to be curious. Vrabel, no. You're still part of this league, so putting Mike Vrabel in the hot tub, putting Mike Vrabel on the roof of the hotel, you have Mike Vrabel in the casino. So hey, the Patriots are playing the Jets. The Jets they're not going to recreate that dive bar in Tribeca where they're playing Smoochy. I think it's fantastic. I mentioned this earlier in the show. We're now the 1 year anniversary of the CBS News interview where Bill Belichick was told by his girlfriend, "We're not answering that question." I'm like, if I had to say, this is my mind is playing tricks on me, I would have said, oh, that was what? That was last August, September? Oh, no. That's already 1 year ago. Wow. 866-4326 is our phone number. Always covering ground here in the sports bar. You come to the sports bar, we're going to give you different stuff as well. Great show today. We talked to Paul Hamilton, WGR. If you missed that, it is up on our website, as well as the Odyssey app. AUDACY. You can listen back anytime we are on 1 to 3 locally here Eastern time. Let's talk to our PJ Glasser. Betting expert PJ Glasser will be joining us next, as we've got some NBA action tonight. Some baseball certainly coming up. So if you like your sports with the side of action, PJ's our guy. We will talk to him coming up next. Oh, I do have a PJ story. I'm going to have to clean this up because I was kind of profane to PJ in a text.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But I think he took it in stride. I'm not one to, swear in a text, but I do have a PJ. He'll join us next year. Gene Battaglia with you, and this is WGR Rochester.
Rochester Sports Update.
Series continuing. Sabres heading to Boston Friday night. That'll be Game 6. Not traveling with the team. Noah Ostlund, he is out indefinitely, probably for the rest of the playoffs, suffering a lower body injury in Game 5. Head coach Lindy Ruff says it's Josh Norris that will be taking his spot. Ruff not worried about going away from Western New York.
I think sometimes the road team, can play a little bit different game, and it can frustrate the home team too at times. I just feel now, pressure kind of reverts back to them and their building, and they haven't played well in their building, and we get to go there and play in a building where we've won 2 games.
Rochester Red Wings are postponed. They'll take part as a doubleheader coming up on Thursday. Yankees coming up at the bottom of this hour. Rookie Elmer Rodriguez taking the mound for the Pinstripes. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
I was mentioning how we will trade text, PJ and I, throughout the week. And sometimes it's on a goofy name. Other times it's on other things. And PJ, I'm not going to say what the scenario was exactly, but you were just asking me for my take on something. And I realized, I did something very uncharacteristic. I swore I wanted to make a point to you, and I was like, bleep no. And I felt like, I hopefully you took that the right way. I just don't want to ever swear at my friend. PJ, how are you today?
Gene, I'm doing good. I appreciate that you did swear because, sometimes over text messages can get construed a certain way, but I could really feel the emphasis behind what you were trying to say. So I appreciate it, and with what I texted you, I am happy to say that we've pivoted elsewhere.
Okay, pivoted. All right, that's always a good plan. And one of my favorite words in the dictionary is no, because it means one thing, no. But if you want to drive that point home, there is an adjective that you could put in front of it. PJ, 3 games tonight in the NBA. Let's start there. And this Orlando-Detroit series, I didn't think this was going to go this way. A lot of people didn't think this would go this way. I would just say this. Orlando going into the season, we thought, okay, that's a team that might surprise. And they did the bare minimum, basically, to get in the postseason. But here they are up 3-1. I look at this line tonight, 10.5 Detroit. Elimination game, Detroit, laying those points here. Is there a play in this matchup here tonight?
I think so, Gene. It's a very similar spot to what Denver was in the other night, where they're down 3-1. They're back home. Minnesota's dealing with all the injuries. It's a big point spread. And I think we're just all kind of looking at all right, this series, it feels like, is going to come down to Game 6 in Minnesota. It kind of feels like the same thing with this series where Detroit's back home tonight. Big favorite, as you mentioned, 10.5. Really feels like that series is going to come down to the Game 6 in Orlando. And whoever wins that, I think, wins the series. Obviously, the Magic win it. They win 4-2. If the Pistons win it, they extend the series to a Game 7, where I think they'll end up taking care of business. The only way Detroit gets in trouble tonight, Gene, is if they're already looking ahead to Game 6, and they just think tonight is a foregone conclusion. Mm-hmm. But again, my handicap, I thought the Pistons would win this series in 7. I thought the home team would win every game in this series. The Magic, this is what they do. They're a very good home team in the playoffs. They tend to struggle away from home. So I think Detroit wins, and I think they roll. I laid it at 9.5, and I would take the Pistons at 10.5 too.
Yeah, that one's on Prime. The other two are on ESPN. When you have a series tied at 2 games apiece in the best of 7, PJ, it's always pivotal. The pivotal Game 5 tonight between the Raptors and Cavs, and I don't know, this time this year, I felt better about the Cavs last year than I do this year. And here they are. They're a heavy favorite tonight, too. 9.5 points over the Raptors. How do you view this matchup, PJ?
I mean, the Cavs, Gene, again, they're very much like Orlando, man. When they're at home, they're a team that you want to bet on. When they're on the road, they're a team that you want to fade. Now, the problem is you got to lay 8.5 points tonight with Cleveland. I do expect them to win. I think they're a good money line parlay piece. If you want to go in that direction, maybe the Raptors get off to a nice start. You can live bet Cleveland at a shorter price, those kinds of things. But this is another series I think is going to go 7 games, and I think the home team is just going to continue to win. For whatever reason, in this Donovan Mitchell era, since he's been in Cleveland, they've just really struggled away from home, and that's played true again so far in this series. So I haven't watched anything with Cleveland to make me think otherwise, that they're going to take care of business in the games at home and lose the games on the road. I like them to win tonight. Line feels about right. I think it's going to be right around that number, going to come down to some free throws, some fouling at the end. So I'm not betting the spread. But again, I do think Cleveland, good money line parlay piece.
Yeah, and in the last game tonight, for folks who want to stay up, it's the Lakers with a chance to close out Houston. Now, I mean, it's not an upset, PJ. This is a 4-5 matchup, but what would be surprising, I would think, Lakers closing out Kevin Durant and the Rockets in 5. Lakers are home. They're a smaller favorite, 4.5 here. So do the Lakers get this done here tonight?
So, Gene, these kinds of games always intrigue me, where in Game 1 and Game 2 in L.A., Houston was a 4.5 and a 5.5 point favorite, and now the Lakers are a 4.5 point favorite. I understand you have to adjust. I understand Austin Reeves is back for the Lakers, but are we just willing to throw away everything from the regular? I mean, we're in the playoffs, Gene. These lines are supposed to be super sharp, and you were getting the Lakers as a 4.5, 5.5 point dog. Now they're asking you to lay 4.5 points. It would only be Rockets or nothing for me. And even though Reeves is back and he's a good player, it always makes me nervous when a guy who usually averages around 20 points comes back. He has to get his touches. Does it mess with the flow of the offense? All those sorts of things. I definitely think the Rockets could win tonight. So, I like the Rockets, Gene. I played them at 4.5. I certainly think money line would be a good look. I think it's too crazy of a swing to go from L.A. at one point in this series was a 5.5 point dog, and now they're a 4.5 point favorite.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with betting, or maybe it's an indicator, but I just find it interesting that when you're looking at ticket prices, and up in Toronto, they're crazy about the Raptors. $150 is the get-in price for Friday. Knicks and Hawks, and that's $120. $25 for the Lakers tonight. You can get in below face. Yeah, I mean, it just tells me that market's like, no, this team they're like beyond LeBron at this point. I think that's it. $25 tonight, PJ. I'm stunned by that.
Gene, between the parking and then between, concessions, I think that gets you up to the 120 of the Hawks game and the other part out there in LA. So maybe they're doing maybe they're doing you a solid that they're only making it 25, but that's pretty crazy that it is that low, especially for a closeout game tonight.
Yeah, you would think. PJ Glasser, our guest here. Well, we're here. The game's on Thursday here. I don't trust the Knicks. I love the Knicks. I don't trust them. I'd like to see them wrap this up in Atlanta. The Knicks are up 3-2. I'm looking at a line with the Knicks 2.5. PJ, do you have a feel on this matchup, Game 6 tomorrow night?
Yeah, I do like the Knicks, Gene. I would just bet the money line, because I think it's going to be a close game. But it certainly feels like as this series has gone on, the Knicks have started to figure it out a little bit. Game 4 was the game. They were down 2-1. They knew that was the game they had to have. They showed up. They backed it up with a really good performance last night. Brunson was great. And I think they're going to take care of business, too. Gene, keep in mind, they're well aware that obviously Boston hasn't been able to close out Philly. Yeah. That game's in Philadelphia for Game 6. So if you're the Knicks, you absolutely want all that rest as much as you can, and Boston potentially looking at a Game 7. So I wouldn't expect the Knicks to mess around saying, worst case, we can go back at home. No, you don't want anything to do with a Game 7. So I like the way that the Knicks have responded these last 2 games, and I think they take care of business against the Hawks.
Yeah, what did you make last night? Because that's one of those, okay, we're penciling in Boston. Oh, maybe not. Embiid with 33 points last night. Now, Boston is still up in this series. They're 3-2, but that's another Game 6, as you mentioned, tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Boston's a 5.5 road favorite. Are we thinking that Boston picks themselves up here in this game, Peter?
I do. I would look at the Celtics in that game. This is what they do. Somebody on Twitter said it last night. I'm not sure who, but it's so true that they are predictably unpredictable. Like, it's just what They do. You just know with Boston, they're going to play with their food. They're going to lose games that they shouldn't. One game, they're going to look like they're the team to beat in the East. The other game, you're wondering if they're even going to make it out of the second round. I mean, it's crazy. But that's what happens with a team that shoots a lot of threes and there's so much variance. But in these spots where they kind of put pressure on themselves a little bit and they go on the road, time in and time out, Gene, these are the type of games I like betting on Boston. So I do like them tonight, or excuse me, I do like them tomorrow in Game 6. I would lay the 5.5 with them.
In hockey, we call it a handshake game, like the potential for a handshake after the game. But NBA, you do that every game. But Denver, Minnesota tonight, and Minnesota with an opportunity to have their handshake game here tonight. T-Wolves are up 3-2. Does this series surprise you in any way? And are you surprised that it's actually going to be Denver that is the road favorite in this matchup?
Not surprised, just because of all the injuries that Minnesota is dealing with. That Game 4, I know the Wolves won it, but Gene, as weird as it is, sometimes when stars go down like that, maybe you just almost feel like it's just human nature to be like, wow, Anthony Edwards is out. This should be a lot easier. And then DeSumo goes nuts and drops 43. So now that those guys, DiVincenzo, Edwards, aren't playing, the Nuggets can watch film. They can game plan a certain way. I think it makes a lot of sense why they're favored and why they're pretty big favorites at 5.5. I wouldn't lay that number. If anything, I would actually bet Minnesota first quarter, maybe even first half spread. Because Gene, this is the game, right? Mm-hmm. They know if they go back to Game 7 to Denver for Game 7, it's going to be tough. I know they won a Game 7 in Denver a few years ago, but they had Edwards and they had everybody healthy. This is the game that they know they have to have. That crowd is going to be rocking for Game 6. So I would look to feed off that energy and bet Minnesota early. But I think as the game goes on, Jokic, Murray, and Denver, they find a way to get the win.
PJ Glass, our betting expert, joining us here in the sports bar. Baseball, all right, we have one game that's already been called. Your Orioles. Okay, so rained out. They'll make that up tomorrow. Anything on the schedule that catches your attention? We're talking about the rarity here, having an Elmer in the major leagues. Elmer Rodriguez starting for the Yankees, just underway, down against the Texas Rangers. Anything on the docket here in baseball that we should like here tonight, PJ?
Gene, it was funny. I liked that Orioles game because Chris Bassett was pitching and he was a favorite. And just, note to your audience, if Chris Bassett is ever a favorite this year, just please take the other team when they're playing the Orioles. That is an just an absolute. Oh, Gene, it's bad. It's really, really bad. I like the Padres tonight in a pick 'em about -115. The Cubs are playing good ball. The Padres are playing good ball. I just think getting San Diego at a short price like that at home is a good bet. That's really the only one I dabbled. Again, I had the Orioles game, so I'll be betting that again tomorrow in the doubleheader. But Bassett the Orioles have done this the last few years, where it's like Charlie Morton, the year before, and then it's Kyle Gibson the year before that. They keep trying to get these veteran journeymen that have been around a long time, and it's just not. It's every year, Gene. There's a guy like it. And Bassett is that guy this year. So whenever he's on the mound, I usually take the other team's team total over, and I usually fade the Orioles.
Doesn't seem like the field's all that great for the PGA this week. Trump National, the site down in Miami. Do you have any field for this week, or are we waiting till next week, or maybe the week after for the PGA Championship?
Yeah, tough week, Gene, just because this is the first time they're playing at this course in over a decade. We saw Live Golf here play the last few years, so we got a taste of maybe how it plays with professionals and those sorts of things, but I think the handicap this week, this is going to be a tough course. This is going to be one of the toughest courses, non-majors, that these guys play all year. There's water basically lurking on every hole. Driving is key this week, Gene, because you can make big numbers in a hurry if you're getting wayward with your tee shots. So I like guys this week that play tough courses well, but also play courses well where there's a lot of danger off the tee. Cam Young's a popular guy this week, but I think for good reason. I do like him at 12-1. And then the longer shot that I like this week, Kurt Kitayama, playing really good golf, won the 3M Open this past year, which again is a course where you have to drive it well. There's a lot of danger off the tee. And he's won in Florida before. He won the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So Kitayama 40-1, Gene, is a guy that I bet this week along with Cam Young.
Yeah, as PJ Glasser, our guest here. It's funny how the sports calendar just moves so quickly because it's 1 week ago we're salivating the thought of the NFL draft, and now we're all full. We ate at the buffet, but PJ, maybe it's not a draft pick, but are you excited about the quarterback that the Ravens have brought in, buddy?
Well, we got Diego Pavia, Gene, but then the other one we got was Joe Finano from UConn to sign a 3-year deal. So we had a Flacco, we got a Finano now. Very good.
It's quite the competition there for the backup behind Lamar Jackson. Was there any surprises to me? Like the draft honestly, it kind of fell flat. I mean, from a Bills perspective, trading out, it made sense, but it's not very exciting here. To me, the draft kind of like I'm ready to move on and talk about other sports here, Pete.
I agree. I mean, I thought there were a bunch of surprises, but like there were a lot of surprises with guys that you thought were going to go in the first round, right? Probably outside of Ty Simpson. I think that was the big surprise. Nobody had Carnell Tate going to the Titans at 4. I thought that was a big surprise. I think Tennessee thought Jeremiah Love was going to be there, Gene, and then when he wasn't, they panicked, and they knew they had to give Cam Ward some kind of weapon, so they went out and got Carnell Tate. Didn't really love that pick, but I thought Dallas getting Caleb Downs at 11 and Tampa getting Reuben Bain at 15. I mean, if you're a fan of either one of those teams, like, how can you not be ecstatic getting those guys where you did?
Yeah, give him a follow, PJ Glasser 9 on X. And PJ, tell everybody where the content is living here these days for you.
Yeah, Gene, people can check me out on Westwood One Sports on Sundays with Chris Mack. Be doing shows from there. Also doing hits on Betting News Network, which you can check me out. And then Game Day Garage, we'll be putting out some content. NBA Draft will be heating up, obviously, when the season's over in the middle of June. So that'll be approaching. We had a live stream for the draft, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll be doing stuff for the NBA draft as well. And getting excited, Gene. Hoping my Wizards just maybe once we can get a top 2 pick, especially with the class that we have coming in this year.
Now all roads lead to Rochester, for careers or whatever. Your brother is going to intern for the Rochester Red Wings. So PJ, I'm going to try to guilt you. I mean, this is family, but buddy, this is like you have an excuse now to stop by the sports bar here this summer.
No, I definitely do. I definitely do. It would be incredible, Gene, if I let you know enough notice. We got to try and get Philip Glasser on the show too, if I'm there. You know what I mean? We got to do one day where the Glasser on the Red Wings and myself, where we're just like on a call together. I think that would be terrific.
Like, yeah, he could just see like, well, I mean, he probably, does he look up to you for like what you're doing? Does he want to go this path, or is he thinking more like, I want to be in PR or the business path? Which way is your brother leaning here right now?
He's more like the film route, like the broadcast and behind the scenes kind of thing. He's a big movie buff, Gene. That's his thing. Like he wants to be, the next James Cameron, Spielberg, like that kind of thing. So he's been working over at Ithaca, and he's been doing stuff, over Cornell, like with ESPN Plus, and working some of the games, and he really enjoys it. So I know he's looking forward to doing some stuff with the Red Wings coming up here.
We're 3 blocks away from the stadium, PJ. That's all. Like, it's,
is that right?
Yeah,
You're
that's
that
it.
Close?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like there are times where like the Wings will get done, and we'll just kind of like walk over, and it's like tomorrow. Yeah, like tomorrow. Now they got rained out today, so maybe Tim and I can go over and catch the end of. It's the Woo Sox are in town here, so we'll see what's going on there. PJ, always appreciate your time, and hopefully we do get to see you in the Flower City this summer, bud.
Absolutely, Gene. Always good talking to you. Take care.
Thanks, PJ Glasser. Who I didn't hit. I let him hit his own Baltimore accent today with the quarterbacks there.
He threw a curveball at us because I was totally expecting a Diego, and we got Finone.
Yeah, right.
I was not prepared for that.
And when they say 3-year contract, you're thinking, oh my gosh, they are making no. If you're a street free agent, that means they own the rights to you for 3 years, and they're paying you minimum wage. That's all that means. And then you get to the exclusive rights. I mean, it's a tougher career when you don't get drafted, for sure. You got to earn your spot on the team, but even when you do, you're at the bottom rung. Yeah, and it's also a place where, I don't know, it's great that we sign quarterbacks like Kyle Allen or Mitch Trubisky or whatever, but for a team that's always strapped against cash, I'm just surprised that the Bills always make that investment at QB2. When QB2, if you really had to lean on QB2, they win you any games? I don't know. I think I'm at the point where, like, okay, maybe a late round pick or a guy like Pavia would make sense. And who knows? Maybe he didn't want to come here. I don't know that for sure. 585-866-4326. Last call in the sports bar, as that is for you. So do give us a call. Gene Battaglia, Tim Schneider, and Dan Drummond here on WGR Rochester.
Chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
This is, I sometimes I love when the NFL gets embarrassed about stuff, and this is one of those stories. Welcome back. Last call for you at 585-866-4326. As this is going back to the draft and the second round of the draft. And, I mean, when you get to this point, are you really watching everything? No, you're probably moving around. So I didn't see this in real time, but it is picking up steam, and I will explain this. And I'm not waving my finger saying shame, shame, shame on you. I'm not going to do that to this person, okay? Because every kind of generation has their kind of comic or somebody like this. For me, it was a guy named Tom Green. Tom Green, who did his TV show on cable access in Ottawa, and then somebody discovered him and said, oh my gosh, this guy's really, really funny. And then MTV put him on, and he was really, really funny when he got a budget. And then he married Drew Barrymore, and now he's kind of touring, whatever. But I thought he was a really funny guy, but he did irreverent things like this, and sometimes he would get in trouble. So this brings me now to the new generation of this. And this was Thursday night. There is a YouTube personality named Fred Beyer. Fred Beyer documents this whole thing. Could he actually get on stage and announce a pick? Now, you know this, we know this. Like what you see on TV when they announce the pick, that is minutes. Well behind, they stall it, they stage it. So people at the draft know, okay, the pick happened, and now we're going to officially announce it. So this guy, Fred Beyer, dresses up in Steeler gear like he's some sort of and you get to the second round, it's like, who's this guy announcing the pick? It's not Roger Goodell. It's, hey, here's former Buffalo Bill Shane Conlon tripping over his words, right? So this guy, Fred Beyer, comes on stage. Nobody introduced him, and he gets out there. He gets to the microphone. The microphone is hot. With the 67 pick in the NFL draft, they cut it out. And then he yells it out. And he's just standing on stage, and security doesn't know what it is. Is this really the guy? There's nobody directing that says, why is this guy on the stage? And this goes on for a minute. And then finally security takes him off. It was supposed to be I think Le'Veon Bell who was going to go up and actually announce it. This guy came up, announced the pick. He made himself a fake credential. I didn't know if you could still do this in day and age. He says he went to Staples and he flashed it. That's how he got beyond there. And he actually walks up on stage, and then he puts this up on YouTube. 700,000 views so far on this stunt. And the end of the stunt is this. Did they arrest him? You would think that's trespassing with a capital T. No. The NFL gave him a strongly worded letter. And this is great for content because, honestly, he then gets to share this with his audience. What did the letter say? You are indefinitely banned from any NFL game or event. The ban is league-wide and will be enforced rigorously. Should you be found at any NFL game or any event, law enforcement will be summoned and you will be arrested. We sincerely hope that you will take this opportunity to reflect on your actions. Since when did the NFL become somebody's parents about this? It gets even better. So as he's reading this, there's a cop in Pittsburgh, and the cop in Pittsburgh apparently knows this YouTuber. Hey, you're the guy. He's posing for pictures afterward. So where the NFL was like, we're going to call law enforcement. Okay, there's law enforcement taking pictures with this guy. I got a feeling we're going to hear more from Fred Beyer, because if he can storm the stage at the NFL draft, like, honestly, what would be next? What's the next thing he could infiltrate? This guy is the next star. And if he gets you upset, he didn't hurt anybody. Nobody got harmed. Okay, you trespassed. Nothing got stolen. Great show today. If you missed any of it, 1 to 3 Eastern, we're on locally. It's on the Odyssey app. Tomorrow on the show, Don Stevens in studio. You're a Locals fan. You don't want to miss that. For Dan Drumming, for Tim Schneider, my name is Gene Battaglia. As the promo says, Scoop and the Bulldog coming up next year on WGR Rochester. We told him to fix it. We're not fixing it.
So much action.